Talk Nelson Radio. It's the Talk of Nelson. Sport. The Mako Rugby Roundup.
Welcome to episode 10 of the Mako Rugby Roundup podcast, where we find out who the fanatics are when it comes to all things rugby in the top of the south. I'm Chris Butler, and normally I'm joined in studio by Les Edwards, but Les, there's a game on tonight and you're coming live from Lansdowne Park.
I am indeed. Greetings to you, Chris, and to your listeners. It's wonderful to be over here at Lansdowne Park. The weather's starting to clear up. They had a bit of rain overnight, but the sun's starting to peek through. And I must say, Lansdowne Park, looking a picture, 17 marquees erected around the ground. Wow. And a big crowd anticipated, my friend.
Awesome. Now, the road is closed, so did you use a hang glider? Or?
We were lucky enough, thanks to Origin Air, to be able to fly our team in, 2 flights, and some staff. One flight yesterday with the starting 15, another flight today with the reserve and some team management. And they will go back early in the morning tomorrow and pick up our Farah Palmer Cup team, bring them over for their game, and then get them back. So big thank you to Origin Air for changing their schedule. What a great little Nelson company.
Yeah, that's right, because they don't normally fly regularly to Blenheim. They do charters, but they changed the schedule to suit.
Yeah, they have, and they've been terrific to work with, as always. We used them last year to get to Hawke's Bay for the Ranfurly Shield Challenge, so we know Robert Ingalls and his crew, and just very, very good people to work with.
Good on them, good stuff. And got the teams there, and we're all ready to go. On today's show, we're going to be talking about college rugby, of course, what's happening with the FPC and MPC. We've got a test match as well, which is fantastic. Let's get things underway with college rugby, and it's the Crusaders Region First 15 final against St Bede's, and that's on Saturday, this time at Sports Park Motueka.
Yeah, that's right. So, as you remember last week, they were due to play at Trafalgar Park. Unfortunately, because of the weather conditions, it had to be postponed. They now play at Sports Park Motueka tomorrow at 11 a.m. And it will be live on Sky, but hopefully a big crowd will take the drive over tomorrow morning and give them some support. Chris, they really are going to have a tough week. So they're going to play St Bede's tomorrow. They win that, and then on Monday they have to play the South Island final against John McGlashan College from Dunedin. It's going to be a tough, long weekend for them, but that's caused by the delay of a week.
So I haven't really kept an eye on St Bede's, so obviously they've been travelling pretty well.
Yeah, they came third, if you recall, and the top seed got knocked over by Nelson College. That was Christchurch Boys High School.
Yeah. So
St Bede's won their semi-final, but Nelson College get to host this. So 2 plays 3, from the round robin. Going to be a good game, very, very good game. College won their preceding round match, so they'll be in a good headspace.
Yeah. Well, a big tradition between those two. They've had plenty of clashes, so let's hope Nelson can do the job. Tasman Mako women, it's the quarterfinals, straight into the quarterfinals, tomorrow at Lansdowne Park, 12:05.
It's a quarterfinal, as you say, against North Harbour Hibiscus. And this is a team that we've played previously this year, had a rather comprehensive win also in Blenheim, 42 points to 15 over the Hibiscus. So it's a very good team that's been named by Mel Bosman to represent Tasman in this quarterfinal. And we're going to stay here and be ground announcing that game. So really, really hope that a lot of people give them some support from Blenheim and also on Sky Sport.
And it's straight knockout though, isn't it? It is a different kettle of fish, so they really have to be up for it.
Yeah, you win or you go home. But I think that they're well settled in terms of the quality of the players, well coached as we know, and they don't have to do a road trip to get here. The union has also, through Origin Air, got them on planes to get here. So, I was on that flight this morning. It's like 20 minutes. It's just so much better than being in a bus for 7 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff. The Tasman Mako men, so last Saturday, that was round 3 in Albany against North Harbour. Yeah, not so good. And
Yeah.
I did watch most of the game and most of the second half actually. And the comment I'd have to make, Les, is that showed good intention, but just mistakes and ill discipline.
Yeah, I think that's a fair summary. You know, when you look at that game, the Mako scored 4 tries to 2, but they conceded a whole bunch of penalties, of which Bryn Gatlin kicked 7. So, you know, you get 7 penalties kicked against you, it's going to be very tough to win. And that was on the back of 5 penalties kicked against them against Otago in the previous round. So
Right.
clearly, you know, a big work on around the discipline department needed against what will be a magnificent Canterbury team tonight.
Yeah, now Bryn Gatlin, he did make the difference in that game, didn't he? He showed poise and they took their opportunities. He took his kick, so yeah, he was a class act in that game, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was definitely. I was sitting on the plane next to Jimmy Marshall today coming over, and he said the more he reviews that game, the more he was just absolutely, amazed by how well Bryn Gatlin played, and that was in general play, not just his goal kicking. So yeah, it was a man of the match performance from him. For us, it was 4 tries to 2. You know, that's impressive, but you've got to stay in the game and keep on the right side of the referee. For us, though, Sione Habili-Kali-Tui was the standout player, both in attack and on defence.
All right, well, tonight it's going to be a huge one. It looks as though the weather is behaving itself. We're seeing a bit of blue sky in Nelson. Looking all right in Blenheim for tonight?
Yeah, so the pitch looks a picture. I'm watching right now as preparations are underway from the hub at the town end. The sun's starting to come through. You know, it's a little bit overcast by this evening. I think we're in for a really nice evening. Look, as I said to you, there's 17 marquees pre-booked for this game, and already, 3,500 people have got tickets. It's going to look pretty cool on television.
Yeah, absolutely, and it is Canterbury, isn't it? So
Yes,
that's
why.
a huge game, huge game.
Yeah, it's our derby game, and look, we've got significant depletions in our lineup. You know, our 2 co-captains are missing, Mick Hunt and Quinn Strange. Sione Havili, who played so well against North Harbour, unfortunately broke a rib, so he's out. There's just players missing, but you know what I'm going to liken tonight to? I'm going to liken it to the Baby Blacks beating France. So if this Mako team can upset Canterbury, then it'll be a win for the ages, that's for sure.
So tell us a little bit about the main key players in the Mako that you're going to be looking out for. Our number 10's been going all right, hasn't he?
Yes, Campbell Parata is our first 5'8", and yes, he's a youngster, but yeah, he's running the cutter nicely. He's got a good kicking game. He makes a couple of errors now and again, but that's because he is young. He will give us a field position, that's for sure, with his punting, and hopefully he can increase his accuracy for points. But yeah, he's a good player. Inside him, Noah Hotham, who is really settling in the number 9 jersey. Pretty young fella also, but coming out of the Highlanders camp into our side, his second year, but really his first year starting. So the halves are very, very important just in terms of giving our forward pack field position and go forward.
Sevu Reece again at fullback, is he? And Leicester on the wing?
No. So Leicester and Sevu got called back to the All Black camp. So we had them for the week. Not always nice to have some, All Blacks in your team. Sevu, of course, scoring 2 tries, but they're back in Christchurch. So replaced by Max Springer on the left wing, replacing Leicester, and Kane Robinson will be at fullback.
Quentin Strange, noticed him walking off the sideline a bit. So is that injury or? Yeah,
so that was minute 1 of the game against North Harbour. So I guess the forward pack can say they're used to not having him there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a head knock and a tackle, mandatory 12-day rest. So yeah, unfortunately we're without him. And Mitchell Hunt is still, getting over that neck injury he suffered in Super Rugby. But the whisper is he's getting closer and closer, so that will be very good when we start getting some of these injured players back.
Tough start to the season, but look, it's an opportunity for someone else, and they'll certainly want to rise to the occasion of taking on Canterbury, that's for sure.
Yeah, and to my way of thinking, that is with the tight five stepping up. So Andrew Makaleo is a seasoned player. He's a hooker and captain, but he's got a couple of very young prop beside him. In the second row, Mahonri Nakuru, Antonio Shalfoon. So, it's the forward pack that's really going to have to step up, give those halves some quality ball to get ourselves into Canterbury field.
Well, it's a bit of youth enthusiasm. That's how the Mako started out, and they always used to bat above their weight, so I'm sure they'll be up for it.
Yeah, well, that's what I say. Get a win today, and it's going to be a win for the ages. Be like the baby Blacks beating France.
Well, cross fingers, and it sounds like it's going to be an absolutely fantastic night at Lansdowne Park. And
5:35 p.m. Get in front of your Sky Sport and cheer us on through the tube.
Absolutely. It's a big weekend, actually. It's nice to have Test match rugby back. We had a weekend off and ready for some more. Tomorrow, 7:05 p.m, the All Blacks take on Argentina in Christchurch. Argentina been going pretty well over the last couple of years. They've had some upsets. They beat Australia last weekend, and they're looking for their first win in New Zealand. But of course, we're all looking for a similar performance that the All Blacks had against South Africa. So going to be interesting to see whether the All Blacks go back into their shell or whether they'll rise to the occasion again.
Yeah, well, I'm just happy that we've got a settled side. It's the same team that beat South Africa. That's important because they performed so well. Just one change, Perifota in for Bowden Barrett, Stephen Perifota. So that's a debut opportunity for him. But yeah, I'm liking the settled look of this team, Chris. And you'd have to think Argentina. They got a big win against Australia. Couple of decent players and an interesting coach, and Michael Chika from Australia. Pablo Matera in the back row. But I would have to think that the New Zealand team can get up in this test. So
Frizzell at 6, is that right? I actually missed the forward pack lineup. So we've got Frizzell at 6.
Yep, and Kane at 7 and Adi Savia at 8.
Right.
Whitelock and Scott Barrett in the second row, and a pretty decent young front row led by Ethan de Groot and Tyrell Lomax at prop.
Fantastic. Good on Tyrell Lomax, that's for sure. And they really stepped up to the mark against South Africa, but it's going to be another big battle against the Argies. They just love it in the forward pack, don't they?
Yeah, that's their bread and butter. It used to be, the forwards and a 9 and a 10 and the back line weren't necessary, but they play a more of a 15 expansive game these days. But yeah, definitely hard-nosed forwards. I remember once when, they absolutely terrorised our forward pack in a game. It was a World Cup game. And, Pablo Matera just stood over Shannon Frizzell and, those sorts of things. They're a passionate team.
Yeah.
And once the passions get fueled by go forward and momentum, man, they're hard to stop.
Yeah, that's right. And I think they'll be up for it, that's for sure, because Pablo had a season in Canterbury, obviously, and playing Super Rugby, so he's quite familiar now with the territory, and he'll know that in order to put the All Blacks on the back foot, you need to put pressure on them and you need to get physical. So, yeah, they'll be up for it for sure.
Yeah, there's no doubt. But I'm of the opinion, given. So we haven't talked about the All Black backline, which is completely settled. So you've got Aaron Smith and Richie Mo'unga running things, and I just think that Richie Mo'unga definitely makes life easier for his outside backs, Havili and Rico Ione. He just gives them passes that are in front of them, not behind them or at the shoulder, and he just has a passing game that unleashes the backline, and that then brings your back three into play. I just think with Richie Mo'unga there, this New Zealand team will win this test.
Yeah, and if we can get a bit of go forward, we haven't really had a settled back line where we've been able to see them on fire, apart from the game in South Africa, which is really brought about by, as you say, good passing and our forwards going forward. So, you know, we haven't really had 2 games in a row where they've been able to fire, and they probably haven't even had a chance to click together. So this is an opportunity really for them to get some consistency and momentum.
Yeah, and I think that for Ian Foster, his selection suggests to him that he knows who his best starting 15 is, and he's got to stick by it. But I'm with you. One swallow does not a summer make, and you know, you really, as fans, need to see them click like that for a second game in a row. And if that happens, then, you know, you can start thinking, okay, maybe the nucleus is there for a really good crack at the Rugby World Cup.
Yeah. Now, this test is preceded by Australia versus South Africa. Another huge, massive game. You know, Adelaide, that's in Adelaide at 5:30 p.m. and, you know, both on the line because Aussies had the loss against Argentina, so there's a bit of doom and gloom, and they didn't have a good run in Argentina. They did get over in the first test, and of course South Africa, who were expecting to win the series 2-0, get slammed by the All Blacks, and now they're really going to be up for it.
Yeah, so this is a hard one to pick. South Africa are interesting travellers, you know, and Australia are quite good at home. I don't know which team will turn up with the most, you know, the most mind's power to win this, but you would think Australia have a decent chance because they are at home, although Adelaide is at a traditional venue for them. But South Africa have a lot of very good talent, so it's a tough one to call. I would think, until I can see otherwise, that you would have to rate South Africa ahead of Australia, you know, in terms of the talent that they've got.
Yeah, the Aussies have been, I thought, looking quite dangerous at times. I guess it's like anything, you're just looking for consistency. Yes, they're
in the same boat as us. You know, they've had wins and losses and wins and losses. At the moment, you know, the Southern Hemisphere teams are in a little bit of a state of flux in terms of who is dominant and who is still finding their way. I'm hoping by the end of tomorrow we'll know that New Zealand's well on its way, and it'd be great if the Australians did upset the South Africans.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, well, it's going to be fantastic. There's lots of... I mean, it's just absolutely heaven for you, Les.
Yeah, well, we've got tonight, we've got first 15, and then we've got Farah Palmer Cup, and then we've got 2 tests. Yes. If you're a rugby fan, it's a pretty decent weekend.
Good stuff. Well, I'm glad you made it safely, Les, and glad to be able to hear that all things are looking well at Lansdowne Park. It's going to be a huge occasion, and it's going to be on the telly tonight, so that's Friday night sorted, really, isn't it?
Yes, make sure you get home or get to a bar. Get yourself ready and primed for what should be a wonderful weekend of the favourite game of ours, rugby union.
Good on you, Les. Thanks very much, mate. And we'll see you again in studio next week.
Yep, we'll have a nice guest to talk to, but I thank you for the call, and we look forward to putting on a really good spectacle today at Lansdowne Park.
Good stuff. Thanks, Les. All the best.
Cheers. Up.
That's Les Edwards, and that wraps things up for another episode of the Mako Rugby Roundup. You can hear this podcast on talknelson.co.nz or on the Facebook page and on Fresh FM 9 o'clock Friday nights. We'll speak to you again next week on the Mako Rugby Roundup. Have a great weekend.
The Mako Rugby Roundup. News, sport, events and more. It's the Talk of Nelson. Talk Nelson Radio.